Hello, I'm Eric Singer. This is Argonne's Public Affairs Science and Technology PAST Fusion Cell Flash Briefing. Holly Hardin, co-director of the PAST Public Affairs Science and Technology Fusion Cell at Argonne National Laboratory, just returned from an overseas meeting with emergency management counterparts from across the world. All are focused on the best ways to get the message out during a crisis.
The most surprising thing about learning from colleagues and peers globally that are professional communicators, specifically when it comes to an expertise in digital and social media, is the array of social media platforms across the globe. While we are very familiar in the United States of America with Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat, there are numerous social media platforms that are used overseas that one day we might have to become familiar with too.
Holly, can you give me a couple of examples?
So what's interesting is there are over 2 billion people around the world who are signed up members of social networks. That's about a quarter of the human race. And we're seeing very specific platforms that are taking hold in countries such as China and Russia, one being WeChat. Another would be Viber. These are social media platforms that one day we might have to understand the complexities behind them as well. So while the social media platforms themselves vary drastically across the globe, we find that there's a universal social behavior behind the way these tools are used. They're used to build community, build relationships, connect with others. There's a universal human need to connect. And we need to make sure that we are connecting with those audiences and having meaningful conversations with them.
Holly, that springboards nicely to my next question. As we wait for the new, bigger, and better social media platforms to arrive in the U.S., what advice would you give for American crisis management to help them understand how to more effectively use the social media they already have?
So the key takeaway here is to make sure that the first time the public is hearing your message is not during a crisis or emergency. In emergency management, we're very familiar with notification messages, but we have to remember that notification is not engagement. Engagement should happen in the absence of a crisis. So social media is really more about a conversation than anything else. We have to be sure to provide opportunities for our audiences to engage by asking them questions, comments, and encouraging dialogue before something bad happens. Tailoring our content and interactions based on our audience's social media motivations is incredibly important for building those relationships and sustaining engagement.
It's also about expectations by the public about what they're going to read and view on various platforms, right?
For example, research shows that people have different motivations for using social media platforms and have varying expectations when accessing information on these platforms. One example is Facebook, the most popular social network. Facebook users are motivated by sharing content such as photos, videos, and status updates with friends and family. Longer form content and engaging visuals receive high engagement rates such as likes, shares, clicks, and comments when shared on Facebook. Users are motivated by Facebook's sharing platform to receive companionship and social support. Twitter, for instance, uses 280 characters to post short-form content and photos and videos. Many news organizations use Twitter as a modern-day scanner to share quick news updates from official agencies. Twitter users are motivated by information seeking, communicatory utility, expression of opinion, and surveillance of knowledge about others. Instagram is a photo video sharing site with an interactive live feature. Instagram stories provide visual, short-form content in an engaging way. Instagram users are less motivated by connecting with other people and more motivated on personal identity and self-promotion, in addition to documentation of life events and displaying creativity. Snapchat users, similar to Instagram, are less motivated by connecting with other people and more motivated to share personal identity, self-promotion, and documenting life events. In addition to displaying creativity with the use of stickers and 3D technology. Snapchat tends to skew younger in the demographic age. However, we are seeing that slightly grow older. The use of Snapchat has grown significantly by 20 to 35-year-olds. It can be a great way to engage with your audiences to develop relationships before something happens. LinkedIn, like Snapchat and Instagram, are excellent tools for developing those relationships before an emergency. LinkedIn is an excellent way to garner support from peers and colleagues, learn from best practices across the emergency management and public affairs communities.
In a nutshell, when it comes to best practices, something to think about for crisis management for social media?
Your everyday communications will help you build your audience and credibility on social media. We must join and establish and build online communities to build trust and credibility, specifically with the proliferation of misinformation and disinformation. Social media is not just a response tool, it's a conversation.
Final thoughts?
To effectively use social media during an emergency, agencies need to think and plan beyond the crisis. The deep research, experience, and comprehensive outreach resident in the past Fusion Cell yields the most advanced and comprehensive curriculum for public safety, public information officers, public affairs officers, and other communication professionals.
Thanks, Holly. That was Holly Hardin, co-director of the PAST Public Affairs Science and Technology Fusion Cell at Argonne National Laboratory, talking about a recent meeting with emergency management from across the globe, what social media takeaways they received from her, and the latest info from them that she's received to give to you. If you'd like to hear previous Alexa Flash briefings that include best practices, tools, and other written stories like Holly's to help your organization, like the Argonne Past Fusion Cell Facebook page or connect on Twitter and Instagram at Past Fusion Cell. You can also check out the Past Fusion Cell's online toolkit for useful templates and information. Go to pastfusion.gss.anl.gov.